and welcome to Newsmax TV. I'm John Bachman. Joining me right now from Atlanta is Andrew Young. He is the former mayor of that great city. He also served as the UN ambassador under President Carter, and he served in Congress, too. It's good to have you with us today, sir.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Well, today, of course, we're continuing to look back on the life of Nelson Mandela and look ahead to what his death will mean to South Africa and the rest of the world. Of course, you had the chance to show Mandela around your home city of Atlanta back in 1993. We have a picture of you here taking a picture of Mandela while eating breakfast with him on that trip. But what still stands out today the most to you about your time with Mandela 20 years ago?
Well, my time with Mandela was really a joy because he was a free man. And always a free spirit. In fact, he was a free spirit even while he was in jail. And he talked about the time that he was in jail as a time of transformation, a time when he kind of overcame some of the problems of his youth and developed the strength of his spirit and reached back and got the moral character that had been inculcated in him or developed in him in his studies in missionary schools. We forget that many of these African leaders who are of Mandela's generations were educated by Christian missionaries in South Africa. Fort Hare University, Adams College were Methodists and United Church of Christ schools. Strong Presbyterian influence. Bishop Desmond Tutu went to an Anglican school and Fort Hare. And so we shared a heritage. We shared a heritage of biblical truth, but also we kind of identified with the children of Israel who had been imprisoned in Egypt and launched out in the wilderness trying to find a promised land. And we heard Martin Luther King use that parable. We also heard that in the people of South Africa. And we forget, we tend to look at Mandela politically, but there's also a religious component there that we ought not forget.
And that, certainly gave him his faith as he struggled through those 27 years in prison. And some of the irony here is that, the enslavement of Mandela, the confinement of Mandela's, in a way gave him the tools that he needed to overcome his captors.
Well, in a real sense, it did. But that's true in the Bible also. That's the story of Joseph, who'd been jailed by his brothers and who ended up leading Egypt out of the famine.
Yeah, and you said...
It's true of the Apostle Paul. Martin Luther King wrote the letter from the Birmingham jail. Dr. King used to say to us that one of the things that was wrong with our movement was we hadn't spent enough time in jail.
Well, yeah, that's maybe a discussion for another day. But you said that Mandela's spirit is going to live on. He may have left this earth in a physical sense, but he's still here with us in more of a spiritual sense. That legacy, of course, is so strong. But what character trait of his do you think makes that possible for Mandela or any other leader whose legacy still survives after or from beyond the grave?
Well, he had a vision of humanity living as one. He even went so far as to say that in an argument with his jail partner, Ahmed Kathrada, who was talking about a multiracial society, he said, no, South Africa is too complicated for a multiracial society. The only thing that will work here is a non-racial society. And I think that's where he leads us. And we're not only having 10 days of mourning around the world for Mandela, but on Christmas Day, the film Long March to Freedom comes out. And so I think we'll be looking at the movie Invictus, Long Walk to Freedom, and I think Mandela's spirit being released at this time is going to have an impact on the world that we'll be surprised at in a few months.
Oh, that's a very powerful combination there that you talk about, Ambassador, with the Christmas spirit, of course, as we celebrate the birth of Jesus, and Mandela's spirit being released in a way, too, in a sense. Interesting perspective there. You know, we can look back in history. We can talk about Moses leading the Israelites out of Egypt. We can talk about Ghandi and what he did in India. We can talk about Martin Luther King and what he did in the United States. Does Mandela belong right up there alongside of those figures who have changed the course of history?
Indeed he does. And his impact on the African continent was felt not only in South Africa, but actually it was the partnership that was forged with President Obasanjo of Nigeria and President Julius Nyerere of Tanzania, and Botswana, and Samora Machel in Mozambique. They all worked together. Even Robert Mugabe. They all worked together to transform Southern Africa from an apartheid colonial system to a free market democracy. And when I went over there first in 1974, everybody was asking me, how long do you think we have before the bloodbath? And I always said to them, there won't be any bloodbath here. The people are too good, black and white. We have too much to lose. And the United States experience is one that it's easier for us to learn to live together as brothers than it is to perish together as fools.
Yeah, and you hope that you know, as Mandela's spirit is celebrated around the world, that some of that can make its way further north through the African continent, because despite you know, the monumental efforts of Mandela to change things, that continent still is a complicated place.
Well, it is, and actually, toward the last days of his time in office, he personally went to visit Gaddafi, and he convinced Gaddafi to release the terrorists who had bombed the Lockerbie plane. And he convinced him that he should stop sending arms into Africa and concentrate on education and health. And he had a number of those personal conversations with leaders around the world that always encouraged them to take the high road and to look up and to see that peace is a possibility in our time.
He certainly did. He personified what it means to have success by taking the high road. Ambassador Andrew Young, thanks for being with us, and thanks for sharing your perspective and your memories of Nelson Mandela.
Okay, and thanks, and bye-bye.
Take care, sir. Have a great day.